Hello YouTube, Marauders here, and today we have the Otterbox Defender for the Lumia 1020. So it's essentially a bumper case, and it comes with a belt clip, which has you can rotate the belt clip, so you can actually carry it either vertically or horizontally. The belt clip also can be locked into a little stand thing to hold it in landscape mode. Now you can once you remove the phone from the holster, you can actually put it in with the screen facing on the inside for extra protection. So that's for the clip. And now the main attraction is, of course, the actual case itself. The Defender is essentially a bumper case for your Lumia 1020. So what you see here, all this material here, it's a rubbery kind of shock absorbent material. So it's a rubber bumper case. It has a very good feel to it. It fits very well. It's solid. It doesn't move around, slip or anything. But that's because this rubber case is actually attaching onto a hard plastic frame in the inside. It will be visible when I disassemble it later. Now this is a very good, so as I mentioned, it has a very good feel. It's very tight. Then it has flip covers for your ports, so you have a flip cover here to access your headphone jack, and you have a flip cover here to access the USB port. Now the problem with the USB port here is that the plastic hinges that are near the cover, it's too close to the rubber flap. So it's very easy when you're trying to lift up the flap to hurt your fingers on the plastic side. So what I figured out what to do is, instead of attempting to lift the cover, I'm actually pushing the cover into the side so that it just forces it up on its own. So that's one thing to realize, because I can only do that because my fingers are small. So you can see that the USB port is revealed here. Now if you're wondering, one thing is, when you're looking at this, you might probably wonder, that's a pretty small hole there. So if you have slightly thicker USB cables, it won't fit. Now this, for your information, this gap here, this is roughly, so it's about 8 mm high. So if your USB plug is higher than 8 mm, it's not going to go in. The other thing is, remember that you still have to contend with this piece of rubber here as well. So whatever you're plugging it into, you need to have a clearance that can clear this rubber flap as well as fit into this port. So it's something for you to be aware about. Now, because of the tight rubber case, because this is a fully sealed rubber case, and in order to protect itself from bumps, this is a very strong and hard rubber. Now, other than protecting your phone from bumps, this thing also protects your phone from ever being used by your children or your wife again. Now, why would I say that? This is because the buttons here, these are the button slot here, these are basically rubber tabs that protrude into the case and press the actual buttons. It becomes very heavy. They are very heavy and very hard to press. It takes significant effort to press and activate the buttons. It's up to the point that sometimes when I press it a lot, you know, when you're in the line and you turn on your phone to check it, and then you turn it off again, and then you turn it on, and then you turn it off again, I can actually feel my thumb hurting from pressing it too much. It takes that significant effort to press it. Now, and for that added complication, don't forget that our camera button has a half focus state. So you need to learn to practice again to find the sweet. You are able to find the sweet spot to do a focus lock instead of directly shooting on the camera, shooting it immediately. But do be aware, again, it takes significant effort to just hold the camera button in that focus position and then again to press it down. So that's something that you need to be aware of if you're just thinking of getting this case. The buttons are really hard to press, and it's very likely your wife is never gonna take any pictures of you and your kids again if you're using this case. One of the other things to be aware of the Defender is that there's a plastic screen here. There's this little thing here. It's a plastic sheet. So they call it the built-in screen protector, but it's actually mostly serving a purpose of sealing up the gaps in the bumper case so that dust doesn't get into it. But the problem here is that because this is just a plastic sheet and it doesn't actually touch the screen fully, so there's a little give and flex onto it, your touch typing is definitely going to be affected, because your fingers would think that when you touch something, you might think that you've already touched the screen, whereas you only just touched the screen protector and it hasn't actually contacted with the screen yet. So one thing is that you need to learn to tap harder onto it so that the screen taps onto it, and that you might actually get some mistaken presses. It doesn't seem to affect the accuracy, but it does affect the speed, because you need to press a bit harder onto the screen so that the screen protector will actually touch the screen. And now, like I said previously, the intention of this thing was to stop dust from getting into the bumper case itself. But the problem here is there are still holes here on the earpiece and on the camera, and surprisingly enough, if given enough time, dust will be able to get in through these holes and they'll get stuck inside the thing, and that's when you have to take the case apart just to get the dust out. There are some people on the internet that say that maybe it's best that you might want to just remove this screen protector so that you don't sacrifice your responsiveness of the screen. But from what I can see is that it is a non-reversible thing to do, because there's some glue inside here, which I will be able to show you once we proceed to take out disassemble the case. Okay, so now let's take this apart and see how does it look inside. Now, the reason why I started this review with the phone inside the case is it's not easy to remove this case. It's actually kind of a hassle. If you look at any other review online, they'll always say it's a hassle to remove this case, and it really is. Okay, so let's get on with it. What you do is you loosen the tab covers first. So you just open this and open the bottom, and then you can just peel off the thing. Okay, I'm gonna have to try and do this at an angle, and it's not very efficient for me to do it by turning and facing the camera. Okay, so now we got so this is the actual bumper part. This is probably what you get if you're just buying a typical silicone case. and this provides your impact protection. And if we look at the phone itself, you can see that there's another plastic case surrounding it, and that provides the additional layer of protection. And this, of course, is also the thing that's difficult to disassemble. So you can see that it's using all these plastic securing tabs, and these, you can see a nice little marker here that says these are all the secure tabs. So yeah, you could try to just take it out using your fingers, but damn, that hurts my fingernails. Luckily, I've pretty much figured out if I take a little file thing and just put it in and twist it out. Pretty sure if I do this too much or too hard, it's gonna snap the thing. So I'm gonna try and get it so you can see in the camera. Yep, okay. Once you loosen a few, it's actually a bit easier. So there we go. I don't need that anymore. Okay, so now we disassembled it, and here you see the plastic screen thing. So if you want to remove this, you can see that this is basically just stuck in here using some sort of glue. But the problem here is if you try to remove it yourself, you should probably be able to remove it just by punching it out. But once you remove it, I don't think you can actually put it back in together. You're gonna have to find some sort of glue that's thin enough to have only a small little layer, and you apply it cleanly enough so that you can just stick it in with the same size. So I would say if you decide to remove it, there's no turning back. You most likely can't put it back together again. So your phone actually just rests on another piece of plastic here. And so there you go. There's the Otterbox Defender case. It feels like a very good bumper case if you really want to protect your phone against drops, angle drops on its corner or face down. I guess there really isn't anything better than this, but do remember that while bumper case like this can protect you against drops on the corner or in the back, do remember that if you directly impacted something into the corner, into the screen, this is probably not going to save it. But still, it is for what it's worth. If you're getting a case like this, you should already know that you need this kind of protection for it, because it adds a significant amount of bulk to the phone. After all, remember that this indent, the 1020's camera area is usually jutting out from it, and when we put it into the case, it's actually recessed into the case, so it adds that much bulk to the phone. But if you bought this, if you actually thought about buying this, you should already know what you're getting into and that you actually need this kind of protection. So if you know you want to fully protect yourself, you need this kind of heavy protection, yeah, go right ahead. I don't think you can get any other better bumper case than this. It's a really well designed case, and other than some issues with this plastic sheet here and the buttons, I would say it's definitely recommended. Okay, see you guys around.